Welcome to the Skincare and Food Podcast, episode 6. I am joined by Maria and Tuna. Thank you so much for being here. And today we're thinking of the subject cleansing, which can really come from different forms, whether you're cleansing through your routine for your skincare, body, and then also relationships and just the surroundings.
That's a massive topic, Amira.
Yes.
It is. Well, we started talking about it yesterday because the last podcast we did, we kind of touched into the subject of exfoliation and clean eating. So how do we jumpstart and, what is a good practice overall, I guess from that perspective. But my point of view was, can you have a clean diet, a clean skincare regimen, but you have, toxic relationships all around you? How does that impact your life and also your well-being in general?
I mean, it's a good point, definitely. But before you even go there, I mean, what is clean definition for you?
That's a very good point as well. I mean, everybody's definition of clean is different, right? To me, clean means you're eliminating toxic chemicals, like not just chemicals, it's toxic chemicals, because I've been corrected a few times that, hey, we're chemicals.
Yep.
We're made out of a bunch of chemicals. Even water is a chemical.
Of course.
So, yeah, of course. So, it's removing a lot of the elements that is toxic to our body.
Maybe you can say something like things are not made up of nature originated things, because we are part of nature. So you may say, I don't want to use ingredients that are not exist in nature, that are man-made synthetic ingredients or synthetic elements.
True. I could counterpoint and say that man is from nature. Therefore, what man makes is an extension of nature. For me, it's the intent. And I think that's why I have a tendency to go towards more natural-based ingredients, because I feel like there's less hands that have gotten interacted in there. And hopefully there's less greed, where I feel like
so less processed.
Yes, definitely. Yes. Less highly processed. Absolutely. Yeah.
From an NPD perspective, Tuna, because you are a product developer, how do you see it? As your, I like what you're doing with your brand, because if I'm looking at the ingredient list, it's so short. You can basically pronounce everything. There is no guessing games.
Yeah.
But from your perspective, what does clean mean to you? I think they all go hand in hand. So back to your original question, where I think this is my point of view totally, and this is me sort of like doing things both emotionally, spiritually, as well as like, it could be all the things that we're mentioning here: the food, the mind, body, and relationship, right? So I don't think that you can have, for example, I don't think that you can start cleaning yourself, but then having something toxic going on in your life. Because the reason is, if you have a toxic relationship with, even if it's office or at home, or your loved one, your partner, whatever it is, this toxic relationship person creates so much stress in your life without you realizing it. You actually, without being aware of it, you constantly seek comfort, comfort eating, comfort indulging. It could be skincare. Because you're under stress, then your skin starts having problems. You may have a hair problem. You can start having the naturals going just to maybe, but then the root of the issue, I mean, don't forget, we are spiritual beings as well as, real tangible beings. So if your physical body is not in balance with your mental body, mental spirit side of things,
they're always going to be like one thing. So when you start cleaning one side of it, you cannot have, and like you cannot, that will impact your mindset. I think that's the word that I was looking for, the mindset. If you, the cleaning means it start with the mindset. So you're going to start, I'm going to clean the toxic side, toxic people, but I'm also going to clean like my life from processed foods or processed skincare, like the toxic skincare, whatever it is you call it. I think they go hand in hand in short summary. That's what I think.
I agree with you 100%. I do want to reset the room. Karolina has joined us. Thank you so much.
Hello, Karolina.
Hi, Karolina.
Hello, good morning, everybody.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Doing well.
Doing
I
well.
was just getting settled, everything with the baby. So now I'm on. Excited to talk to you guys about food and skincare.
Oh, wonderful.
Yay.
Welcome on. We are recording. I certainly will always archive this on our YouTube channel. And in our subject today, we're talking about cleansing the mind, body, and relationships. Tuna had an excellent point that he just made about mindset, and mindset really being the driver and all of these different elements for cleansing. And Karolina, I know we're doing a Whole30 right now, which I believe is a cleanse, definitely in lots of ways for the body.
Absolutely. It's like cleansing and refocusing your mindset about your relationship with food. Like you really strip everything away. So in that sense, it is kind of like a cleanse.
Mm-hmm.
You eliminate sugar and alcohol and dairy and the things that are like just really fun to eat, and you eat them to celebrate, you eat them to feel good. So they're really comforting, and then taking that away really makes you just kind of sit with your feelings and look at things a little differently. So absolutely, mindset has to be a part of it. You have to decide, right? You have to decide that you want to do this and prepare for it. But then there's also that connection of action, right? Like action creates motivation. So it's like you have to have the mindset, you have to decide, but then you also have to take the first step. And then with that comes motivation. People usually think like, oh, I'm not motivated enough to do XYZ, right? Whatever it is. But you kind of have to take the first step, and then the motivation also comes.
Absolutely.
I ask a very good question about, I'm going to ask you to Karolina, what's your point on it? She asked, like, if we start, and correct me if I'm wrong, Maria, she asked basically, if you start doing the whole cleansing thing on, you start eating healthy food, or, cut all these things, and then you start, that goes along with the skincare. Do you think you can have on the other side of things, you have your relationship? So can you have clean one side of things clean, but you have toxic relationship? Do you think that's possible?
Yes. I mean, there's definitely like drinking, for example. Like if you're trying to not drink alcohol, then maybe you won't want to hang out with, friends that's all you did with them. You can't get that healthy unless it's a mind, body, and spirit connection. So I love that we're talking about this. But until you really let go of toxic everything in your life, like you won't really feel cleansed.
And it's an interesting point. Yeah, it's you pointed out really exactly right, Tuna. But what you're saying to Karolina, because when you're kind of doing a Whole30, for example, you have to make the decision, right? You're aware, you're going into it fully aware that you are making the decision to cleanse. And it's almost like if you are, say, you're eating a lot of bread, for example, to kind of soothe your soul, or alcohol to kind of calm yourself down. It's almost like you're taking the pacifier away.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
sorry, Maria, finish it out. I'll do it. So let's go.
And I was going to just say, Tuna, it goes hand in hand exactly with what you're talking about, that everything is interconnected.
Yes, and Karolina actually said something really that sparked an example in my. The alcohol is
alcohol is I think the simplest example in my point of view. So when I cut alcohol completely from my life. I mean, just maybe I drink something very, very occasionally, right? I used to drink beer a lot, and I didn't cut alcohol just because of my, I'm not Christian, I'm Muslim, but I don't practice, but it's not because of my religion whatsoever. It's just personal lifestyle choice, right? So that's part of the cleansing. What happens is when we start hanging out after work with all these groups of friends or whatever, that point also impacts them, because they start to realize, why am I not drinking beer, or why am I not wine with you? No, I'm cleansing myself. Then you start and they start totally, the shift, you can immediately see from their point of eyes, like what's happening with this guy. He used to drink beer, so he's not drinking. So immediately the energy shift is happening with the group. So then you may get not invited anymore because you're not seen as a fun person anymore. Do you see what I'm trying to explain here?
Yeah,
I do.
Like you're the enemy.
Yeah, because you don't drink alcohol with us anymore, so you're not part of the gang anymore.
I'm curious if it's a different, well, I love the saying, your vibe attracts your tribe. And speaking so, I'll welcome in Wendy. I'll go ahead and reset the room. Yes. Hello. We are talking today about cleansing the mind, body, and relationships, and how they are all interconnected. This is being recorded, and as always, I will archive this on YouTube and post everybody's links so that it is there. Certainly welcome in, Wendy.
Nice to be here. Thank you so much.
I love it. And saying that your vibe attracts your tribe, I think it's quite interesting. The people that I've kept relationships without my life, even if we don't talk on a daily basis or even a monthly basis, we'll run parallels. And new relationships that I bring into my life, we have those commonalities as well. And I think it's quite interesting that when I want to start thinking about, changing the way that I eat, or habits that I have, or, starting new ventures, these people have this kind of commonality that's there. And so in doing cleansing and thinking about the relationships, to me, my natural progression has attracted and added people who are on that same path. And maybe who people weren't, I still appreciate them and respect them and love them, but they're not on that same path with me anymore. And welcome in. We do have a new person who has joined the room. Do note we are recording. It will be archived on our YouTube channel. Today, we're talking about cleansing the mind, body, and relationships. So what are your thoughts on them? Yeah. So in having this kind of cleanse of our personal relationships that we have, or just even our daily cleanse that we have for our routine of taking care of ourselves and wellness, where are we seeing the kind of shifts that are coming through from our moderators?
Go ahead, Tuna.
No, it's fine. Sorry, I didn't mute myself.
No, I was just going to say, I think it's really important to get rid of the toxicity that's in your life. You almost have to sort of take a step back and look and see where the toxicity lies, and then make a conscious effort and a conscious decision to mute those people. Sometimes we can't end the relationship because sometimes the toxicity actually is within your family or people you work with, but you are kind of stuck working with them. But I think it's important to take a step back and not foster those relationships and not let them creep into your sense of self-worth and your sense of being, and don't let them, diminish your light. This is Wendy. I'm done speaking.
Absolutely. I'm actually curious, Wendy, with you moving from a focus of the food-based industry going into skincare, obviously they're interrelated, as we know, which is why we have Skincare and Food podcast here. I'm curious, have you noticed just kind of a shift in yourself, or what shifts have you seen from those around you with kind of going into a different field?
I've really gotten a lot of support actually, which is really nice. But the thing is that my cleansing came back a few years ago when I did leave the restaurant business and I went into business consulting, and I wasn't in touch with as many people as I was. It was very interesting because when I owned multiple restaurants in my town and when everybody knew who I was just because I did own these restaurants and I knew all these people, and I had the cool hip restaurant and then I had the great Italian restaurant, and when I no longer had the restaurant, it was amazing how many people sort of fell off the earth for me. And I guess it was because I couldn't provide them with what I did, which was feeling special when they walked in my door. And so the people who stayed in my life and the people who continued with me, and even people I don't speak to all the time, but, every month or 2 months or something, either I'll reach out to them or they'll reach out to me to see how we're doing, or even they reach out on Facebook or whatever the case may be. Those are the people who, have become my tribe, and they're not toxic. But I realized, unfortunately, how many people were toxic in my life. And so I would say I've gotten a lot of support, and it's a difficult journey making that pivot, but I'm learning so much. And then, getting a phone call. I love this app because I get to meet people like you who, are experts in the field and who I feel like I am learning so much from. And I hope that one day I can give back that same value in this realm. I go into a lot of the food and beverage, and I'm there simply to add value, to give advice, to teach people what I've learned. And then I come into rooms like this so I can connect with people like you and learn and foster new relationships. So, I find it very exciting. And this is Wendy, I'm done speaking.
Oh, wonderful. Well, you're so appreciated. Certainly a full circle of positive vibes and energy going through and support. Welcome in, Tom. Do note our podcast is being recorded and it will be archived on our YouTube channel. I'll be more than happy to link your social media channels on there. Welcome to stage. We are talking today about cleansing of the mind, body, and relationships. Any insights that you'd like to share on that topic?
Hey, thank you very much for inviting me. I just was in a similar path with it was, I think it's Wendy was just speaking, and I listened to her in another room, and she popped up and I said I wanted to hear what she had to say because it intrigues me, because I sold my restaurant about 1.5 years ago, or my restaurants, and I went through all the same thing. It's like, what have you done for me lately? And the people who are still around, they're so much more enriching in my life. But the cool thing is I'm onto this whole thing of eating healthy, eating clean, checking out veganism, checking out, micronutrients and everything. And it's very interesting. I don't know in what room they were talking a lot about collagen also and eating. I guess it came with food. If you eat a lot of bone broth, the collagen helps your skin, or that's their theory. So it's just, I'm just trying to get more information and echo what, she said about it's funny when you're in who your true friends are and your true people who lift you up when those life events happen. So I'm Tom, and I'm done speaking.
Oh, I love that so much, and congratulations on your new journey. Yes, collagen is definitely a big subject that we talk about in our field. Collagen being the largest, most predominant protein in our body. And certainly there's a lot of talk about having it internally to be able to help have all of that strength in the tissue. And then, of course, topical collagens come about. I've noticed a difference in my skin with the size of my pores and not having the collagen that's there. And I think it's something that not having all of that strength and stability around the skin and that firmness when I wasn't using it, those pores look so much larger. But I love the fact that you're being more cognizant of what you're eating and how that is affecting mind. And I'm curious of the relationships that have stayed there. Are they kind of going along the same path of looking into kind of cleaner eating habits as well?
It's funny you ask, because it was I just got off a phone call yesterday with so I went to culinary school at Johnson & Wales, was in a fraternity, and a lot of my fraternity members, we fell out, but we're all reconnecting, and we've all kind of gone through this phase in our life where we've had careers and jumped to the next thing. I mean, the human body can only take so many hours a day on concrete floors in a restaurant before you have to decide to do something else.
Mm-hmm.
But my one friend, Scott Leadfree, who happened to be the sous chef on Hell's Kitchen, he had a company years ago that was micronutrients and very balanced. And now he actually is working for a much larger company that he just started. So I just got off the phone with him, and he's on the journey. My other friend, Sonny. So we're all, actually 6 of us now are all starting to meet once a week to talk about how we can take this, knowledge and what we've learned, that, eating French fries and burgers, and that's what I owned, a burger joint, eating French fries, burgers, and washing it down with milkshakes for 15 years is not beneficial to the body. So it's, so the short answer is yes. And it's really cool how it's happening. It's kind of organic. It's happening across, friends all over the country. And, we're hoping to do something. We're hoping to do something here local. I'm in the Maryland area, and then spread it across the country. So thanks for asking. That was a great question.
Oh, I love that so much. And if the 6 of you decide that you want to throw your conversation onto a Clubhouse, send me your link, DM it to me on my Instagram, and I'd be more than happy to jump in a room and listen to how things are progressing. That's very exciting. Congratulations.
Can I just ask, and I think it's both for Wendy and Tom, I just want to kind of point out from the food business point of view, since you have both the restaurants, it's like you have the burgers and chips. Your business is all about that, and now you're changing it into, let's say, the vegan and all this like healthy. So your target customer changes. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that the path that you give up and you start a new path is going to attract different kind of people. So the next thing you're going to say, those people that you had at Beacon who would love to eat the burger and chips, they're not going to be along with you with this new vegan and clean, healthy eating. So but people who are open-minded, and they're not, let's say, normally open-minded people don't tend to be toxic. It depends. I don't want to say this is all general, but people who start with you all the time, don't forget they're also sharing the same journey with you. So they might be experiencing the same shift from back in the burger and chips days. There's like, you know what, I don't like them anymore. So I'm gonna have more apples and juices and what's not. So it's kind of like goes back to what Karolina is saying. It's just you stopped walking in one path and you start walking another path, and you start attracting all these different people into your life because your energy changes, your point of view changes, and people who are stuck with you, they're also experiencing the same shit at the same time. So I'm done talking.
I love this conversation. Amira and I are actually doing a Whole 30 currently. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but it's eating clean paleo, cutting out certain inflammatory foods. And I've been, on this journey for a while personally, just because I look and feel my best when I'm on it. And like Amira said, your vibe really does attract your tribe. I'm attracting, as you guys are, on this, finding out what works best for you, attracting like-minded people. Tuna and I were just talking we were talking earlier about alcohol is a really easy example, or, like the burgers and fries. The people that are, think it's cool to not be healthy. Those people are definitely not attracted to me personally anymore, just because I don't know if it's like my health journey makes them uncomfortable, or they don't want to look at, they don't want to look at their relationship with food and alcohol. But I know that it makes me shine really bright, and as I'm shining really bright, I'm attracting other people that are on the same journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like your target customer changes. from the business point of view. Now you're addressing different completely customer profiles. So yeah, totally agree, Karolina. Thank you.
I love this so much. I do want to put in one of my personal beliefs about kindness and authenticity. I believe wholeheartedly that if you are staying true to your authentic self, then things just naturally are going to flow your way. I don't believe anything can be forced in life, whether it's personal relationships, business relationships, new ventures. It really needs to come from an organic, natural state. And for me, it's really going to come from that kindness. And I think that it's important to be kind to myself, to show kindness to those around me. And, I know we keep on talking about, changing our energy and, people who maybe once were close to us and not being anymore. I think it's still really important to keep in mind that kindness, that it's okay that they're on a different path. It's, no one's right, no one's wrong, no one's better, no one's worse, and I know we use the word clean and we kind of get a little, I know sometimes I get that icky feeling about clean because that means ultimately something is dirty, whether it's your eating habit or your skincare habit. So I just, always try to keep in mind, always making sure that kindness is there and holding that through. Let's do a room reset. Welcome in, Ellen. We are talking today about the cleansing of the mind, body, and relationships. Our podcast will be archived on YouTube as it is being recorded. I will certainly link anybody who has joined the room today on the social media, so that way your social media or your websites are there, because we're always about supporting each other. Certainly welcome in. You're more than welcome to jump in and speak if you'd like. So we're getting close to the top of the hour here. Any kind of final thoughts or information that you'd like to share for our discussion today?
Amira, I love that you brought up kindness, because coming from a place of love, no matter what you're doing, it doesn't matter what you're eating like, what your business venture is, if you're coming from a place of love and light and the authenticity that you mentioned, then you radiate this energy that then attracts people, attracts your ideal client, like Tuna said. And it's not judgmental. And I love that because I know there are, certain groups that are like, you can't sit with us, right? Like, this way or the highway. And I love that it's all inclusive. What works for one person is not going to work for everybody. And it's just finding our tribe and finding our journey and what works best for us.
I love that you brought that up. Yes, you can sit with us. Yes, all inclusive for sure.
And what someone mentioned about, not only kindness, but this vibration when you're in a different sense, it's 100% true, because some of these people that I didn't speak to in years, all of a sudden my phone's ringing and we're connecting and we're all on the same exact topic. And there's something underlying truth to the fact that when you change your mind, you change your frequency, and you connect. It's like when I think of my sister and then 2 minutes later the phone rings. There's something going on. I haven't figured it out. I don't think anyone has, but you're right. Kindness opens that door, and thanks for sharing that.
I want to share just something really funny with that, Tom, if I may. I had been trying with my skincare company. There was one big name marketing person that I connected with on this app when I first got on the app. So we're talking back in February. I actually got on the app in January, but I really became active in February. And after that, I just couldn't seem to connect. And I think it was the skincare product that I'm working on is taking a really long time, simply because it is stem cell science, and the lab that the FDA has to approve the lab. And there was a shift a little while back where each stem cell producing lab could only be certified for one. They had to be certified. So our lab is being certified for stem cells for skincare. And it was a very expensive and lengthy process. And so while we're waiting for this, we sort of, this is what we're doing. We're waiting. And I felt some frustration and some despair. It was last Sunday. And just for purposes of my story, I'm going to call that big name person Mr. X. So I couldn't, it just wasn't working out. And in the interim, my partner goes a little bit radio silent, and he does this often. When I was actually his consultant in the business before I became partners with him, he would do that anyway. So I know it's how he is, but for me, I'm one of those, come on, let's get this done, we gotta go, da, da, da. So I found it very frustrating, and I was sitting in my office last Sunday night, and I was just, I was despaired, and I was just thinking about what my next step is, and how do I do this, and the phone rang, and it was my partner. And he said to me, hey, how are you? And I'm like, well, nice of you to call me after a week and a half on a late Sunday night. And he said, wait, hold on a second. I hold on. Somebody wants to say hello to you. And he hands the phone over, and I hear, hey, Wendy, how are you? And I go, good. How are you? Who's this? And he goes, it's Mr. X. And I'm like, oh my goodness, Mr. X. So apparently they were at the same restaurant in Las Vegas, sitting next to each other, met each other. And now, like, the connection is there. And so the universe sort of brought it, you know, around. So I just thought I'd share that story because it's so weird how just things align and the universe, you know, brings you things and sets you on the right path. Anyway, this is Wendy. I thought I'd share that story.
Thanks, Wendy. Can I just add that it's the what you're sending out to universe is called the intention. If your intention is out there, and if you're if you constantly working on it, it will come back to you, like you just said. Thank you.
I wanted to also chime in on that. I love that. And, you know, Tom mentioned vibing higher. When you do strip away all the layers and try to figure out who you really are and what's really best for you, not just like as a person in this human, having this human experience in our bodies, but your soul. Like, what is your soul purpose? Like, what are we using this lifetime for, right? I do believe in reincarnation, and I do believe that we have certain roles and jobs that we do, and finding what works for you, your passion, your purpose, what makes you feel good and really vibe high will attract everything that you need. I love that.
All right. I love this so much. What a fantastic subject. So the takeaways I'm getting from all of this wonderful information I'm learning from all of you so much is really for that cleansing for the mind, body, and relationships is mindset, intention, kindness, and really just attracting those who are going to be able to continue to give us that support and us to stay focused and true to our authenticity. Wonderful. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you for joining. This is a weekly podcast. We will meet again at the same time, same place. And this archive will be put on our YouTube channel. I'll link everybody's social media that's on there. Thank you so much for everyone joining.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Oh, wonderful. Such a fantastic, exciting subject.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amira. Good to meet you. Thanks, everybody. It's going to look a bit different this time. We're not talking about skincare, but I think it's still a very universal thing to talk about. It is part of, human experience too. We have the physical side, as we said, like we have the food and the skincare may go to physical, but we also have our spiritual sides, which they go hand in hand with everything with what we do. So thank you very much, everybody.
Oh, you're so right. Yep. Skin definitely, all that glow comes through.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I think it's easier for us to make a decision in terms of, okay, I'm going to start on a clean diet or a clean skincare regimen. But I think definitely when it comes to human relation, it's harder to make decisions on not necessarily cut ties, but just having more of a distant relationship with somebody who we know is a toxic influence in our life. Mm-hmm. But it's I felt like once you start on that journey, then you're attracting people who kind of think similarly.
Mhm.
So I don't think you can avoid the journey. It's all one and the same.
And I just want to add, it was nice to get to know, like, I never heard Tom's story, so Tom, it was great to hear it, and to get to know all you on a more spiritual level, too, is I think really nice. So thank you for this room.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you so much.
Everyone.
Yes, thank you. And we look forward to seeing you soon. All right. Best regards.